Okay, so for today's video, we're focusing on the Russian Revolution. This is day 2. If you didn't watch day 1, it was approved by Mr. Maui today. Go check that out and stay tuned. First, the causes of the Russian Revolution. They include the Tsarist rule, peasant unrest, problems of urban workers, diversity and nationalism, revolution of 1905, and World War I. First things first, we're going to do some background stuff. Some of this stuff might be repeated along, as the video goes on. So in 1914, Russia enters World War I, but they suffered a lot of defeat, and there was a lot of low satisfaction, and workers led food riots, but the soldiers that were supposed to shut down these riots refused to strike upon these strikers. And Tsar Nicholas, the Tsar at the time, the ruler, he ended up giving up the throne, and the leaders of the Duma, which means Congress, ended up declaring Russia a republic, which is a lot of political unrest. There was a lot of different changes going on, and the leaders refused to withdraw from World War I, even though a lot of the people wanted to withdraw from the war, so that led to lost support of the public, if that makes sense. Okay. See this grumpy guy right here? His name is Vladimir Lenin, and he was the leader of the Bolsheviks, which was a revolutionary group. And he promised peace, bread, and land, which was favored a lot by soldiers, workers, and peasants, mostly the lower class. And he seized power in 1917 and became member of the Communist Party and made Russia the first communist nation. Russia later became known as Soviet Union because of this. And he modified Marx's communist theory, and industries were nationalized, which means they were taken over by the government. Okay, Bolshevism. It's basically the beliefs and practices of the Bolsheviks, which is communism. That's what it is. But on the prep sheet, he wants us as opposed to original Marxist ideas. So what I wrote down, I did some research or whatever, and Marxism is a theory or a philosophy, and it's basically they don't want any gaps between the rich and the poor. They don't want any differences. They want everybody to be the same. Whereas Bolshevism or communism, I guess, it's a political system, and it's where everyone becomes one and the same. So it's classless, egalitarian. Is that how you say that right? I'm sorry if I'm butchering all these words. Czar. I'm just having a bad day today, guys. Anyway, it's a classless, egalitarian, stateless society. So, and it's all about equality and fairness. That's what they want. That's what they believe is achieved through this. Spring Revolution of 1917. This is where we are. And I talked to Mr. Maui about this because it's not necessarily separated in, it's kind of, if you think about it, it's a revolution during a revolution. Okay. So basically during the Spring Revolution, that part of it, the Duma, which is the Congress I said earlier, took over the government temporarily, and they set up the republic. They lost popularity due to the fact that they did not want to leave World War I, but they were being defeated and whatever. And by 1918, they signed the treaty with Germany, and they got taken out of the war. Okay. Provisional government is defined as an emergency governmental authority set up to manage a political transition. And I kind of said this before, so when Tsar, whatever, Nicholas stepped down from the throne, the Duma, which is the Congress, Duma Congress, remember that. I feel like it's important because it keeps coming up. Anyway, they made Russia a republic before Lenin took over. So this is the provisional government, the republic. That's what you need to know, basically. The October Revolution of 1917, which when I talked to Mr. Maui about it, it's basically when Lenin comes to power. He takes over and he becomes leader of Russia, which he later makes it Soviet Union with all his, Okay. The Russian Civil War. What you need to know is basically it was between those who supported Lenin and those who opposed Lenin. Those who supported Lenin were known as the Reds, and those who opposed Lenin were known as the Whites. Now, the Red Army was basically made up of peasants and workers, and in spite of the fact that foreign powers were supporting the other side, the whites, they still won, and their win secured power of the new communist government. And I think that's what's key here, that at the end of the Civil War, the Reds won and secured communist government in power. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Lenin's new economic policy. Basically, in the 1920s, Lenin realized my program needs some modifications. Okay. And because peasants weren't growing enough food, he made the new economic policy, right? So it allowed some private ownership of small farms and small factories, but he still made sure that government had control over major industry. And this economic policy actually ended up gradually succeeding and helping out the economy. See that guy waving at you with a mustache? His name is Joseph Stalin. He came to power after Lenin's death in 1924. He wanted to turn the Soviet Union into a modern industrial power with all production under government control. This ensured that all agriculture was under government control. The government forced peasants to live in bad conditions on small group farms. Joseph Stalin turned Russia into a totalitarian, there we go, state, meaning that the government controls all aspects of individual life. Yikes! Okay, so for 5 years plan, I might later on add more. But for now, basically what you need to know is that the 5 years plan was a series of economic reforms in the Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin, that's what you need to know. Joseph Stalin, 5 years plan. Joseph Stalin, 5 years plan. Economic reform. Boom. Done. Stalin and the kulaks. So first, the kulak refers to farmers, basically. And because Stalin wanted farms and land under government control, this led to the government taking land away from the farmers, and they lost their jobs. So in response to that, the kulaks sought out independence, and this was a threat to Stalin's power. And in response, Stalin caused a famine in the Ukraine. And by the end of 1933, 25% of Ukraine's population died due to this famine. It was very, very bad, and you can totally synthesize this to the Holocaust. It's atrocious. So if you need good synthesis, Holocaust. So that's it. I'm hoping this was helpful. I don't know. I got positive feedback from yesterday's video. So hopefully this helped you out. I know it's helping me out. And if you have any comments or questions, you can come to me, text me, comment. I don't know how YouTube works, but okay. Bye.